Think a cruise is all relaxing sea days and fancy dinners? Not always. From flooded cabins to missed ports, cruise nightmares are real and they can ruin your vacation. But don't worry, I'll help you avoid every one of them.
Hey, I'm Pam. I cruise on casino deals, fly with points, and stretch every dollar in port. From free flights to frugal adventures, I'm here to show you how travel doesn't have to cost a fortune. This is Points and Ports with Pam.
Hi, I'm Pam. I cruise as affordably as possible using points, miles, and casino offers. Even after spine surgery and years of limited mobility, I've seen the good, the bad, and the really ugly at sea. So today let's talk about 7 nightmares that you can easily avoid. Imagine walking in your cabin and the carpet is soaked, or worse, the AC doesn't work and you're stuck sweating all night. I once had a room where the toilet wouldn't flush. Thankfully, they fixed it really quick. We've been on over 20 cruises, and this only happened once. Our AC has almost always been cold, but maybe not cold enough if you like it frigid like my son. How can you avoid that? Book midship on a higher deck if you can, and always report issues right away to guest services. They usually respond pretty quickly. The next one is missing the ship. Imagine this, you're shopping in port, you lose track of time, and the ship leaves without you. I've seen this happen and the panic is real. On our very first cruise, we were in Cozumel shopping. Thankfully, we were in the cruise port area, so we weren't very far from the ship. We were paying, and they always ask you what ship you're on. I told them, and thankfully they told us it was all aboard time. We were the pier runners, but never again. How do we avoid this? We always set an alarm on our phone to make sure we don't lose track of time, and we always get back to the ship a minimum of 1 hour before all aboard time. Nightmare number 3, food poisoning or stomach bugs. Neurovirus spreads fast on cruise ships. A few bad bites and your whole trip could be spent sick in your cabin. A gastrointestinal illness outbreak has affected over 140 passengers and cruise members on Royal Caribbean's Navigator of the Seas just over the 4th of July. They returned back on July 11th, but the CDC is still investigating the cause of that outbreak, which caused symptoms like vomiting, stomach cramps, diarrhea, according to news reports. Let me tell you what happened to me personally. I was about 3 years out post-op from gastric bypass. I made the mistake of eating something way too sweet for breakfast. Those Danishes just looked too good. I immediately knew it was dumping syndrome. I went down to the ship's medical center just hoping to grab some Pepto or something light for my stomach, but they wouldn't listen. They assumed it was norovirus and they quarantined me to my cabin for 24 hours. I missed a port I was so excited to see. And let me tell you, I will never go to the cruise medic again unless I really have to. Now I carry every medication I might need, acid reducers, anti-nausea, Imodium, motion medicine, you name it, I got it. I will not let one little upset stomach ruin my entire trip. Now, obviously, if I didn't know what it was, I would have been a little more okay with getting quarantined, but I knew exactly what the issue was and they just wouldn't listen to me. Issue number 4, rough seas and seasickness. Nothing like being stuck in bed while the ship rocks like a roller coaster. Seasickness is no joke. How can you avoid that one? Book midship cabin on a low deck, bring motion meds, ginger chews, or Sea-Bands. Even cruise pros like me still pack them. You never know when the seas are going to be rough, and especially if you like to cruise in off-season like we do, the seas are going to be a little rougher. We were on one cruise one time. Only once did I ever feel seasick, but we were coming back from eating, and I was walking like I'd had way too many drinks. But it's a real thing, so make sure you pack your medicine for it just in case. Next one is excursion disasters. Let me tell you about one time when Larry and I went to Jamaica. We did the famous Dunes waterfall tour. First advice, go to the bathroom before you leave and don't drink anything on the bus ride. The van was packed, the ride was long, and there were no potty breaks. By the time we got to the falls, I was desperate. I asked our guide where the bathroom was, and they said, we'll pass it after we get our gear. We passed it all right. I asked again, too late. I had to backtrack to the bathroom. I was just about to explode. There's something, if you don't know, a lot of these ports at these tourist things, there's a lady sitting there with her little tip jar or something wanting tips to help keep the bathroom clean. And sure enough, there was a lady there, asked me for payment or a tip. I had nothing on me but a full bladder. I told her I either got to get in there or I'm peeing right here. Luckily, she let me in. It's funny now, but at the time I was seeing yellow, and yes, I had to climb the waterfall after that. Ways to avoid that one? Always use the bathroom before any excursion, and ask about stops before you book, especially if you have medical conditions, mobility challenges, or just a human bladder like the rest of us. Hey, if you're getting value out of this, hit the like button so that YouTube will know to share it to other people like you. Also, please subscribe for more tips that I'll have coming where you can vacation on a budget. The next one is surprise charges. $300 Wi-Fi, surprise gratuities, that free drink package, not always free. The onboard bill can blow your budget. Now, always be sure and plan for what you're going to do on the ship. As you see, our last onboard bill is rather high, but we planned for that one because if you watch my channel, you know we get a lot of free casino cruises. So that's why we played so much in the casino on this trip, so we get all the cruises for free. And guys, we've gotten more offers than we could ever imagine. But how can you avoid getting those surprise bills? First, check what's really included before you sail. Prepay your tips ahead of time if you're going to pay them, and I don't want to get in that whole debate on whether or not you should, but prepay those if you want to so you're not surprised with that bill. Because I tell you, our first cruise, we got hit with that, I think it was like $11 or $12, $13 a day per person gratuity that we had no idea was coming. That was quite the surprise. Skip the overpriced photo packages. Guys, bring a selfie stick, much cheaper. Make sure you monitor your daily account balance. You can usually see that on TV, or a lot of the cruises now have apps where you can check it out. So keep an eye on that so you'll know exactly what your bill is going to be before you see it slid under the door that last day. Of course, I guess now they don't always slide under the door. Guys, our first cruise, one of our friends that we were cruising with, we were with a huge group. Every time we saw her husband, he was in the bar. And back when they used to slide the bill under the door, their cabin was a few doors down from ours, and their bill was leaning against the door. It was so thick. It was kind of funny looking back. Next one was medical emergencies. On one cruise, we saw a man having to get an emergency helicopter off the ship. I can only imagine how much that bill was. Another time, I saw someone billed for $200 just for the flu. That included a swab test and medication, but $200? How can you avoid that one? First, buy travel insurance. Bring your meds with you, like I showed you my little med kit, and know where the medical center is. For folks with disabilities or pre-existing conditions, this is a non-negotiable. You need to know where it's at. So, cruises can be incredible or a disaster, but if you're prepared, they are way more fun. Want real tips like this, especially if you're retired, disabled, or just love cruising on a budget? Hit subscribe and binge watch my cruise tips playlist. And tell me in the comments, what's your biggest cruise fear or worst cruise experience? I'd love to feature it in a future video. Thanks, y'all. We'll see you later.